Well, hello there to all of you from around the world. I want to thank you for joining us for this great edition of Soulivity Today. We're broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Wesley Johnson, and whether you're at home, driving, or even at work, we are always glad you're here with us. Again, we have an amazing show for you today, and I'm joined today by an equally amazing co-host, Teresa, Greco, happiness life coach, and the host of the Steps to Happiness show that airs right here on Thursdays at 12 noon on Soulivity TV. Hey, Teresa, how are you?
Well, thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Might be afternoon to other people around the world, but it's all good. Teresa, we got a great show today. I can't wait to get into some of the stories that we have for people. It's just kind of like a hodgepodge of goodness, like a potpourri of joy. So I'm so
I like
excited.
that.
Again, this is our Motivational Monday show where we are bringing you stories and news and information from around the world that are going to help you get inspired and motivated to start your week. We have a very special kind of two-part segment here that's part of a exclusive. I know that there's labor unions in Canada, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we have
Yeah,
those too.
yeah. I thought you had those too, of course. Well, in America, what I found out was labor unions closely date back to this country's founding. I didn't even know that. I thought that unions were newer than that. I thought that they weren't around until maybe the 19th century. But the first union, official union, begun with the Federal Society of Journeymen Cordwainers. And this is like workers who worked with like leather and cobblers, like shoes. It was founded in 1794. Can you believe that?
I know.
Yeah,
Wow.
right? And throughout history, these organizations have been instrumental in achieving a better employment situation for workers, such as higher wages or safer working conditions. Well, I had a chance to do a special interview with some folks from a nonprofit on the West Coast who are trying to make working conditions better while meeting a mission and an organization that they actually love. So we're going to take some time this morning when we're going to feature this interview, and I hope you guys enjoy it. There's two parts to it. So let's listen to part one. Hello, and welcome to the interview on Soulivity Today. The employees of Brilliant Corners, a nonprofit operating across California, are facing a tough anti-union campaign as they approach an election to unionize with OPEIU Local 30. Today, with me to answer some important questions about this action are Sarah Applegate, Operations Specialist at Brilliant Corners and Organizing Committee Member for BC United, Emily O'Connell, Program Assistant for NorCal Housing Services at Brilliant Corners, and also an Organizing Committee Member for BC United, and Jamie Campbell, Organizing Director at OPEIU Local 30. Welcome, everyone, to Soulivity Today.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, hello
Absolutely.
everyone. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, let's get down with this, right? This is a really big action for a nonprofit that's happening there in California. I don't think that there's many nonprofits that have considered unionization. So I'm really interested about, why did you and the employees of Brilliant Corners decide to unionize? And Sarah, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons, but a large one is we want to make sure that we're being paid fairly and being paid a living wage. And I think that that's definitely big on our minds. I know that we did a sort of informal poll of what percent people are paying towards their rent among employees, and it was mostly above 30%, and many people had
Wow.
roommates that were also contributing to the rent. So I think that, housing is an issue we care about, obviously. That's why we got into the work that we do. But when we're also struggling with our own housing, that puts a stress on it. And we also want a larger voice in the company about what decisions are being made as a whole.
Wow. Wow. Sarah, Emily, I cannot believe that people are paying 30% of their income out for housing. That's a lot. I think the maximum is around 25%. Is that true in California?
Yeah, with our programs, I think a big thing we try to do for our clients is to have them pay that 30 or less. And the reality for most of the staff at Brilliant Corners is we're paying more than that. We're paying 50% of our income. In my case, it's
Wow.
close to that. And
Wow.
it's hard, it's tough. It's hard to see. I used to be a housing coordinator, and we work with a lot of housing coordinators, and it's difficult to see that they are not able to afford the same apartments that we put our clients in. We believe in housing, and that's something that we work towards every day, and we want to see our colleagues and ourselves be able to afford the same apartments that our clients are able to move into. So it is a challenge, and going off of what Sarah said, I think there's a myth that workers organize because they don't like their place of employment. That's not true for us. We love Brilliant Corners. We love working here, and we love our clients, we love our colleagues, and that's why we're doing this. We're trying to work together to make our workplace even better. We're trying to push forward the mission of Brilliant Corners and make these things better for everyone, including staff and clients. So yeah, I think that's why we are doing this. And it's just because we care about the mission and everything as a whole.
Yeah, Jamie, as a person who is actually representing the union space, I think people are surprised that nonprofits actually need are looking for actually unionization, and that the reasons aren't just purely economic, right? There's additional reasons why that actually can strengthen an organization through unionization. Can you talk about that really quickly?
Definitely, Brian. Thank you. The voice on the job, right, is very, very instrumental in our research and having people collectively be able to make their voice heard. We hear in the nonprofit and in any other industries we represent as well, people want to be able to have a say in the decisions that are made that affect them on a day-to-day basis. And so we've, with OPEIU, we've organized nonprofits throughout the country, and we have seen a strong uptake in nonprofit employees seeking to unionize as well. I think you heard from Emily and Sarah to say, it's not always necessarily that that they don't like their employer, they don't like what's going on at work in that way. They want to expand it even further, right? The more that they can feel comfortable at work in the work that they do, it's so critical. In this case, working with the unhoused, it only will strengthen the communities that we all live and work in. So definitely we've seen that uprise, and we're just excited to be able to help them unionize with us as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Sarah, and I will jokingly say that there's been pushback from Brilliant Corners, specifically the executive team. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we went into this like asking for voluntary recognition. We had 60% of employees sign union cards, so we were able to prove that we had the majority support. And we were pretty surprised that they pushed for an election. We later found out that they had hired, let me get the name right. It's Fisher. What is the last name? I had it.
Is it Fisher
Fisher
Phillips?
Phillips.
Fisher
Yeah,
Phillips?
Fisher Phillips law firm, which has worked with Amazon and Tesla on some of their union campaigns, and it just really surprised us that they were going to be fighting us. We were hoping for mail-in ballots, and we were pushed to do mostly in person, which we think is going to make it harder for voter turnout. And we've also seen lots of information being spread that isn't specifically anti-union, a lot of like threatening that things will change, that are scaring people a bit.
Wow. I mean, first, how big is Brilliant Corners? I mean, how many employees are we talking about in terms of, trying to bring into the union?
I think it's about 330 employees that will be in the bargaining unit for the union.
Okay. And Jamie, what are some of the things that you think that can help the union? I mean, that can help the employees in terms of them, unionizing here. I mean, because I hear a lot about like the tangible like money, but there's other benefits as well, right?
Oh, definitely. And some of those benefits we talked about, but like the collective voice, right? Decisions. Then when it comes to, say, having policies for seniority, having policies regarding new hiring, they're able to basically have a say into helping make those things a possibility, right? And so promotion and hiring, right? You say in there, like, what do I mean by hiring? It's awarded fairly according to the process, right? Agreed within the union contract. Now within the contract, it goes back to saying that everything that we've been hearing is not everything is wrong with DC, right? So there's things in the contract we want to fight when we do get the contract going and negotiate to keep the things that the BC employees like at this point, right? And so sometimes there might be changes in health benefits. I think Sarah and Emily can touch on this. Without the union, the employer is able to change these decisions when they want, right? And so we want, in the unionizing effort, we know that then any of those changes would have to come through like the bargaining and negotiations part. There's been a lot of turnover and in major caseloads for some of the housing coordinators with Brilliant Corners. And so if balancing a caseload, and then if that means, that we need to work on ways to make that balance equitable for folks there, those are the kind of things like that we would bring in as well when we bargain. Yes.
Listen, we're going to take a quick break, but we have more of our exclusive interview in regards to BC United. So stay right here and we'll be back with more of Soulivity Today in a couple minutes. Hi there, this is Brian with Soulivity.com. I want to share some exciting news about our new Aspire Academy by Soulivity. Now, you probably want to know what the Aspire Academy by Soulivity is. Well, it exclusively connects you with people around the globe and who share the intense desire to improve themselves and create a better life for themselves today. There's classes, there's workshops, there's live events, and even more exclusively just for you. You see, I wanted you to have a safe space where you could grow, you can learn, and it would empower you in all aspects of your life, including your mind, your body, and your soul. So how do you get started? Well, it is so easy. First of all, the best part, joining Aspire Academy is absolutely free. Just click on the Join Now button, sign up, and begin your journey. As a special part of this invitation to you, there are some free courses that are available for you to try from our amazing roster of coaches and collaborators. It's our way of saying thank you for all of your support and being with us along our journey of expansion. I hope you enjoyed the Aspire Academy by Soulivity today. Start the process. Learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to live a higher quality life. Hey, we're back with more on Soulivity Today. It's another motivational Monday where we are bringing you news and information from around the world that will help get you inspired and motivated to start your work week. Let's watch more of today's special, The Interview, where I had a chance to meet some folks from a nonprofit on the West Coast who are trying to make working conditions better while meeting a mission and enjoying an organization that they love. Wow, Emily, I'm hearing a lot about not just in the for-profit sector, but in the nonprofit sector, that employees, just like Jamie was just saying, that they're working more than just their job. They're actually working, 2 or 3 jobs and not being paid for it, right? And so, is this a part of like why you want to do this as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big thing for a lot of us is that we feel overworked. We see our coworkers burnt out at times. And we've heard from, especially from direct service employees, that they're feeling burnt out and they don't feel like they're at their best capacity to support their clients. And that's a problem. We want to be able to put our best foot forward in our work. And to do that, we need to be supported by our organization.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we're seeing some issues with that. I mean, we're seeing issues with caseloads being too large, with workloads being too large, taking on if somebody's out sick or on medical leave, even just taking their, earned vacation days. We don't usually have good coverage. And then you're just helping out and doing somebody else's work on top of your own, which many of us are happy to do to support our colleagues, but it's also just not sustainable. I personally took a long medical leave last year and I didn't have a temp pick up my work. I came back and I felt like all of the pressure fell onto my team and then myself when I came back to a flooded amount of work. And I just think we really need to, as an organization, consider how we can better manage our workloads to better support our staff and our community, and definitely, especially our clients.
Yeah, and Sarah, this is, I'm glad that you said that, Emily, because Sarah, this isn't just about the employees, right? It's you're working for an organization that all of you believe in and you want to service specifically because of the mission, but you can't do the job that you want to do because of you're being overworked, probably underpaid, and the clients are the ones that are affected the most out of everyone, right?
Yeah, I think that that's something we really want to make clear is the people who are unionizing are the people who are direct service workers for the
Okay.
most part. So those are the people working directly with the clients. And if their voices aren't being heard in our meetings, and the fact that they're burnt out, which is causing high turnover, isn't
Mm-hmm.
being paid attention to, that really affects our clients. I know that turnover is definitely a big thing. I've heard many housing coordinators who work directly with clients say that clients are wary to get attached to people because they know that they won't stay in their lives for long. And that's just not going to give the best service for those clients, because they're not going to be able to form the connections that are really needed.
Right. Right. I can also see that just the clients that you're already servicing that may need some support, help, that process gets slowed down tremendously, right? Because of just the workload, right? I mean, there's just not enough people to be able to service the people that are there who want and need help. I just,
Yeah,
so yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. I also think even beyond like us being worried about our rent or worried about workload, uh, the people who are working directly with clients, can see when a new policy is going to hurt the client the best, because we are connected with them and we know what's happening. So I'm able to say like, oh, that's going to cause delays for the client getting their furniture, and that's going to be a problem. But right now, I don't have much power in changing that decision. With a union, we'd have more say in policy changes.
Right, 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 right. Jamie, this is about a collective voice, right? And with having a tribe that's coming together saying, listen, we want to work with you. We believe in this organization, and we need these things from you, right? How can our listeners support you? I mean, what, Jamie, where, is there a website? Is there a phone number? What do you need the community, specifically in California, to do in terms of moving this action ahead?
Thanks, Brian. There's definitely with people we have employees throughout California, San
Mhm.
Francisco, the Bay Area, San Mateo, Los Angeles area, Inland Empire, and San Diego. And we could use the support of people going to our Twitter and Instagram
Okay.
pages, right? And seeing our posts and seeing the information. Um, it'll help us in vocalizing the efforts that we're moving forward with. We have elections coming up in March, March 13th and 14th. And so anyone before then, like that will just help in the process. Once we win that vote, we will be at another pass, right? And that's when we will start to begin to start bargaining and negotiating a first contract for the BC United folks. And so all that support, anyone that can reach out and send support letters in to actually BC and to Bill Pickup, right, to the CEO, those would help. Emily and Sarah, they can tell you our Twitter and Instagram handles, and if our listeners could join in and like there, that would help us for sure.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
definitely. Yeah,
Go for
based
it,
on
Emily.
that, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter or X at BCW Union. We are posting on there. We're having a lot of questions, and our colleagues are sharing testimonials about why they do believe in BC United. So it's a great place to get engaged with us. We're seeing support from our communities, from some of our partner agencies, and then we're having a lot of our colleagues speak up and share their experience, which is amazing. We would love the support in that way. And then I think, just based on what Jamie said, we'd also any letters of support or community support, just things like this, listening to us, giving us an opportunity to amplify our voices and share some of the experiences of the direct service workers at Brilliant Corners. It really means a lot. And, we're definitely grateful for the opportunity and for everyone listening to us and trying to understand why we're doing this and just providing us support in that way.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that you guys came on. Sarah, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I just wanna, if you're listening to this and you are an employee at BC who is eligible to vote for the union, I just wanna let you know the dates and times. So in San Diego and San Francisco, the vote is March 13th of this year, coming up, and the polls will be opened from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and then 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And then in LA, the polls will be open March 13th and 14th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. So definitely, if you're at BC or work at BC, make sure you're going and voting, because we want everybody's voice to be heard in this election.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, again, thank you all for being here on Soulivity today. I think this is something that is so important for our communities to realize that, listen, our democracies have been under threat for a long time now, especially over the last few years. This includes direct attacks on employees who are trying to do the work that's necessary to serve clients and that kind of thing. But there needs to be this collective voice. I totally believe in unions, grew up with them in my hometown of Detroit. And so, I'm wishing you Godspeed in making this happen. So Sarah, Emily, and Jamie, thank you for being here. And if you ever want to come back on our show to talk about this, we are completely open to that. So thanks again for being here. Pretty cool story, huh, Teresa?
Yeah,
Pretty cool story.
yeah. Some people trying to make some changes, right? And when you can come together, then that's where some change can be made. So I think it's good.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they're not they have nothing mean to say about their organization, about the nonprofit. This is about them saying, listen, we're at a rope, we're at the end of a rope here, and we need these things, we need the support to support you in continuing the mission in a high quality way where there's some more equity here. And I hope and I pray that this is resolved quickly and effectively for all parties, because at the end of the day, this organization helps people find housing. And so the more that this is happening, the less that mission is being implemented and executed. And so I hope that they resolve this really quickly, and I hope that the employees get what they need to, because I think that they really, really care. They really, really care. Just want to remind people again, if you want to learn more information about what's happening, or you're an employee of this organization, you can go and check out their Instagram page at Instagram. It's BCW Union. That's the handle there. There's even more information about the dates and the times, I believe, that are coming up. I think March 15th is one of them. But please go check this out and get more information today. Teresa, got another great story here for you for Motivational Monday. And I'm going to warn you right now that you probably need some tissues, because if you haven't heard about this story, and you're going to hear it for the first time today, it's a joy. It's one of those joyful, teary ones. So, this story centers around how a mother's love and care created a medical miracle for her daughter, who has been comatose for half a decade. And so I don't want to give away too much, because it's a really deep story. So why don't we find out more from Good Morning America. And thanks to you, ABC, for covering this story.
She was on the phone with her husband, and she told him she felt lightheaded, and he said the phone went dead. You know, she just veered off the road, and she hit a pole. From then on, everything changed. One of the paramedics told me they usually only use the chest compressor 3 times, and they tried a 4th time, and her heart started back. She was on life support, and they encouraged, like, by day 2 or 3 to take her off. And I said, no, not as of today. We're not going to do that. Then each day they kind of encouraged me, you know, more, and I'd say, no, you know, it's in God's hands. I'd talk to her, tell her what the kids are doing, you know, what we've been doing. I have a blow-up thing I'd wash her hair with. Then on certain days, I'd put her feet in it, and we'd have spa day, you know, I'd do her feet. I remember one respiratory nurse, she said, well, you know, she'll only get worse. And I told her, don't you ever say that to me again, and never say it around my daughter. For years, I would hold her hand and say, just squeeze my hand, Jen, squeeze my hand, you know. And that never happened until she woke up. That's what he told me. He says, your butt's starting to grow out front, Peggy. Oh, Lord have mercy. It really scared me at first, honestly, because I was gonna, you know, she started laughing, and I guess I didn't even realize it was a laugh. But I didn't know for sure that she would continue to wake up. You know, it was that moment. And then I would take her out, and she would start waking up again. And it was like, you know, this is happening. You little bugger. Is it real bad? I'll be going in, walking around with my butt all wet. Yeah, that's pretty funny, isn't it? And I would ask her questions about the boys and stuff. I'd mix up their names, you know, like one middle name to the other one. Is Skylar's middle name Thomas? And she'd say no. And I'd say, is it Joe? And she'd say, yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, she's answering me. Is Skylar the youngest of the 3 boys? No. Is he the oldest? Yes. We tried the whistle, and it was a few weeks, and one day it was just a little bitty, and it was like, oh my God, you did it, you know. And from then on, I guess she learned to bring the air up, and then she could make a grunt, you know. And we started with, you know, just go ah, you know, and it was very small, but then pretty soon she could do vowels.
The harder way is no. Oh, and oh, it's still pretty good. And the easier way is on. Very good. Try new. Oh.
Keep going. I'm so glad you and I had a chance to make some music together. From rum-pum-pum-pumming on a drum to this piano here to you making the most of that voice you've got.
We do therapy here. I do the best I can with sitting her up. Like, her chair's like this, so we sit up, you know, I sit her up, and she's got to try to, you know, the core strength. You got to start with your top strength first. I told her if she woke up, we're going to go to one of Julian's games. I'm telling you, we're going to go, you know. And at that point, it was like, I don't know how I'm going to pull this off, but we're going to do it. And then when it came closer and she came home, it's like, oh, we are going to do it. So we went to 3 games, and she loved it. And it's like, okay, we got to go to senior night. It was really cold that night, but we just bundled up, put a blanket over. Toward the end of the game, I said, Jen, it's really cold. You want to leave early? No, we had to stay to the whole thing. For a few years there, you know, it was like she was forgotten. Your friends quit coming. The boys, it was very hard. You know, it was like mom was gone. I always believed she was in there, but then you have a little spot where I don't know what's going to happen. To look back, you know, it was the talking to her, communication, the touch, everything that plays a part. I remember a lady at work said, how do you do it? And it's like, I just do what I have to do. You know, it's something I got to do. I would tell Jen, I've got so much love in my heart for you. You know, it goes without saying. You just do it. Are we a team?
Yeah.
Did you have fun at the football game?
Yeah.
That was a big deal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We have a lot of work to do still. So we stay busy. I want her to walk. I want everything. As much as possible, you know. And we don't know what's possible. So we just have to keep doing it.
I told you. I
Oh
told you.
boy. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah. Isn't that wonderful? Mother's
Yeah,
love.
that's
Nothing like a mother's
yeah.
love.
Wow. Wow.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it. A couple things on this story. The experts from Good Morning America say that just about 2 or 3% of people left in a vegetative state for as long as her daughter was never wake up. And that one doctor who's part of the rehabilitation center that she's at said that this case study is so rare that it's actually driving scientific discovery. And so this is having a bigger impact in people who are in the same conditions, and finding out, okay, what did her mother do on a consistent basis that move the needle. Again, we're talking 97 to 98% of the cases, these people never wake up. And so, yeah, so they're studying it. So I had to include this story this week, and just show people about, listen, this is just another example of what is possible in our lives with some care, some support. Her mother. I mean, listen, like she said, there's still more to do. There's still more that they want to do, and that her daughter's feeding off of that energy, and believing in herself that she can do more and more and more. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful story. Thanks, Good Morning America, for doing that, for covering this story. Just want to remind people about that. So, how you
thanks.
feeling? How you feeling, T?
I'm feeling good. I'm still in a bit of a shock with some parts of that story.
Yeah.
A bit of a shock. 5 years is a really long time.
Yeah.
But I think my takeaway from that was what she said, what the mom said at the end, that we don't know what's possible.
Right.
And, doctors want to try to tell you, oh, this is how it's going to be for you. You won't be able to walk again, or you won't be able to do this again. And they really don't know. They really don't know. They're just, because when the divine, when the divine steps in,
yeah,
who knows what's possible.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. I mean, the doctors were telling her, take her off life support, based upon the evidence that they had, but she was being led to do something different.
Yeah.
Could it have been that maybe later on, or years from now, maybe it got bleaker and that kind of thing, and then they could have made a different decision. But at this point, she was like, no, nope. She saw something that they didn't, right?
Yeah.
And they had to
Yeah.
go along with it. And again, now it's driving new scientific discovery around what made this case different, right? I mean, for us, it's being led right at a higher level.
Yes.
And they can do some things to maybe give to other people. Hey, listen, try this or try that. I mean, it's 5 years, everybody. 5
Yeah.
years. This was not
I know.
like something that just happened. It was like 5 years that she was comatose and silent. And so, again, mother's love.
Yeah.
Mother's love is a powerful, powerful thing. Why don't we take a quick break? And when we come back, I think everybody's going to be surprised about what they're going to learn about museums. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes. You can find all of the Satana products at our Go shop at go.soulivity.com.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
Hey, we're back with more here on Soulivity Today. It's another Motivational Monday show where we are bringing you news and information from around the world that will help get you inspired and motivated to start and continue your week. And back with me is happiness life coach, Teresa Greco. Teresa, question for you. Do you like museums?
Yes, I do. I do. And galleries. I love that.
You know, there's a ton of them here in Washington, D.C. Because you've been to D.C. before, right? Or no?
No, I haven't.
Oh man. Okay. Well, that's on your bucket list. You have to come here and visit, and then we'll do like some of the museums. But there's a lot of them that are here. But one question up until recently that I always kind of wondered was, when was the first museum? Have you ever asked that question? Like, when was the first one? You know, who did it, and you know, on all that. Well, I have the answer, and it's a pretty motivational one. Let's find out what the answer is from Entirely Alive on YouTube.
Over 500 years before the Roman Empire began, a woman named Enigali Nana, daughter of King Nabonidus of Babylon, built the first museum in the city of Ur. After the defeat of Babylon by Cyrus the Great, she was allowed to keep her post as high priestess of Sin in Ur, and she collected the artifacts her father had assembled. She then displayed them in the palace along with placards explaining each piece, showing off a collection which may have included artifacts from before the invention of writing, some 2,500 years before her own time. Despite her efforts at preservation, however, Mesopotamian cuneiform culture was in its twilight, and her museum, nation, and city would be buried in the sands of both time and desert until being uncovered over 2 millennia later by archaeologist Leonard Woolley, who was at first baffled and then astonished to see a person so deep in the past who was herself fascinated by humanity's deep past.
How cool is that?
Wow.
How
Yeah.
cool is that? So,
Very
you
cool.
know, women, hear you roar. Let women roar. So, a woman created the first museum, over a
Wow.
millennia ago. I mean, this is this 500 years before Rome. I mean, that's pretty freaking cool.
It is.
That's pretty
It
cool.
is.
That's pretty cool. So again, it's just kind of like I wanted to make sure that we talked about that story today because, she was thinking completely out of the box back then and was like, listen, we have all these artifacts that my father has brought back from his travels and all this kind of thing. We need to preserve this. This is our history, right? So what we call ancient history was ancient history to her.
Yeah.
And now those artifacts are now available for us to look at, and it helps us define or redefine what we think about history. That there were people back then that were like, no, we need to preserve this. This is something cool, and it's about the human experience. I mean, maybe not those words, but still, So what do you think of that? What did you think about finding out that the first museum was built by a woman?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I think that part's interesting. But I think when we discover these almost like hidden gems underneath the Earth's surface, like I was in Greece last summer and we went to this island called Delos, and it just would have just looked like there was nothing there till they started to dig underground, and a whole other world is uncovered. And from that picture, I almost kind of felt like that too. As it said, that
Right.
it was going to be lost in time, and I think in the desert too. But then all of a sudden, a whole other world is found underneath. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm curious to find out what artifacts that they had. What did they
Yeah.
think of as precious, right? Probably not gold and all this kind of stuff. Maybe pottery and things that they may have eaten with and stuff like that. But I'm gonna check that out. So I may do a follow-up to this, Teresa, and find out what the deal is around
Yeah.
this first museum that was built, millennia ago, before
Mhm.
Rome, actually. Which is pretty cool. Running out of time, but of course, let's get to some shameless plugs here. Again, we keep talking about it because it is a fantastic program, Teresa, that you're doing, called Mental Freedom, and it's only 6 weeks. Can you tell people about this really quickly?
Yes, mental freedom is designed to help you to be bigger than anything that you need to deal with. So, in just 6 weeks, you learn the tools that you need to be able to work through, process, heal, and move on from, to basically return to mental freedom. And so, I love this program because it is like a return to peace, a return to happiness, because we are not taught these tools. So things happen to us every day, and instead of us just being reactionary to them and carrying the hurt or the pain from those situations, whether they happened in the past or day to day, mental freedom helps you to work through what just happened and that's bothering you, as I said, to return you to a place of peace. I want people to know that right now the program is specially priced on our website, but that
Yeah.
price is going to be going up. And
Yeah.
so I encourage people to take a look at it. If you want to get in on it, it's at 50% off right now.
Yeah.
But that's going to be going up shortly. And so if you're interested in finding out more, I encourage you to do so as soon as you can, because in a week or two, we're going to be bumping that up.
Absolutely. And you can find out and register for that special price by going to soulivity.com/Teresa Mental Freedom. And that's all one word. That's soulivity.com/Teresa Mental Freedom, all one word. We also put that in our chat so that people can go directly to it. Teresa, so glad to have you with me as always. This is fantastic.
you.
I always like beginning my week with you.
I know. I feel like that too. Thank you so much.
Just want to remind everybody that, listen, we have fantastic new content that's on our website for your inspiration, for your passion and purpose, so you can begin that high quality life. There's one I keep talking about that's like so cool, because it's like things that I'm adding to my bucket list around travel, and it's 5 must-see natural wonders from around the world. Have not been to any of these places yet, so I'm reading and I'm learning about what they all are, and so that I can go and check those out later on. Maybe this year sometime I'll do the first one. Also, there's another great article on 4 ways to unwind after a stressful day at work. Teresa, I know you go through that. I go through that. And so there's some great tips in our website around how to do that in an effective way. So go check and read that great article on 4 ways to unwind after a stressful day. Also, go follow us on social media. We are on all the major platforms. But specifically, make sure that you follow us on YouTube at Soulivity Magazine, where you will be alerted every time that we go live with this show and our other Soulivity TV shows. Additionally, we are now on Google Podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify. So you can listen and download this show every single day by going to those providers and listening us and taking us with you wherever you go. So listen, running out of time. Just want to say thank you for joining us, and we will see you again for another Soulivity Today tomorrow. Bye for now. This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent.